Well, hey everyone, it's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you're at work, in the car, wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching on YouTube Live, you can be a part of the adventure tonight. Please join us in the chat room. Participate with us as we watch the show, as everybody watches the show. The link to the chat room is on the geocachetalk.com front page. So if you go down below the show, you'll see there's a link to the chat room. If you're listening later, please give it a like, subscribe on your favorite podcasting app. You can get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Big thanks to the Trail Bugs for the music and our featured patrons. And this week I did something a little different. I was sort of down at the end of the list anyway, so I figured, what the heck? I'm going to mention a bunch of our new patrons. And I like to scroll the list around a little bit. Anyway, so I stopped at Simmels 123. I'm not quite sure who. Oh, well, there he is. He's with us tonight. So what do you know what the planning on that thing was, right? Chaos in Motion. The Cache the Line. 000 Ridland Kids 0. God, I love that. Florida TB Hunter, the Caching Dead New York, Nicole, and Jesse and I we got to meet Nicole. Oh, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get Nicole. We get to meet Nicole last week or 2 weeks ago now. Gosh, it seemed like it was just the other day. UDAC, the Dig Family, JB Opto. We met a lot of these folks a couple weeks ago at Woodstock. NYJ Fan, Keeper of the Cash Flow. Somebody else we met over there. GeoVet 91, another. Nitty Gritsky, E-Ray Bowl, Hoffer 15, H2, SG2. I'm getting some of our newer patrons. Bember, the Happy Hodag, Tick Magnet is back with us. Thank you for coming back as a patron. And I know you always wanted to, and you got the opportunity, so he came on back. And one that came in just today was Vol Boys. I think it probably has to do with volunteers in Tennessee, but we'll lock that down as time goes on. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get the new blackout coins. Jesse, do you have Memphis? I'm going to call you Memphis tonight. Oh, Ryan's got his. He's got his old one. That's the old one, man.
Oh, yeah, I've got my old one here too. Not the blackout one, but the old one.
You can't show that. Hold on. You can't show that thing.
Special limited edition. You can't get those anymore.
Yeah, you can't even buy. Hey, you know how many of those I have, by the way? I've got one. I kept one.
I know. This is the one I have right here. That's it.
I got one. We gave away all the rest of them. I do have the blackout coin. There's the blackout coin.
There you go.
We go.
Mine's in my Jeep again. I keep it out there so I can take a picture out in the field.
Yeah, the green one, man. I've had people go, "Oh man, when's the green one coming back?" It's like, I don't think it's ever coming back.
But I have something else really cool tonight.
Oh, do you? Okay, cool. We'll let you show that. We'll show and tell. Oh, there you go. Oh, you got that? Yes.
That's my for another show.
Nice.
Oh, that is for another show.
Some crazy guy that may or may not want to be mentioned. I'll let him mention it if he wants to.
Yeah, that was
got those made.
I don't know who that was.
Some other crazy guy.
Some crazy guy. He's got one with him right now too.
He does, in fact.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. He's got his. Yes. I think it's going to come in. That's going to come in handy a lot tonight, I think. So
oh my gosh, tonight it is. Yeah.
Hope you have for another show.
Oh, see, Tuttle's already jumping in there and doing all that stuff. So, oh my gosh. So, all right. So we got a lot tonight. So so patreon.com/geocache talk. Support level start at as little as Bison Tube levels, $3 a month. Let me welcome my co-host Memphis.
Good evening.
He lost his name again tonight.
I did. I'm just going to leave it as Memphis. There's no point in being Jesse because you intentionally keep having people back on the show named Jesse, so I can't have my name.
I know. Right. But he's going to keep it. So anyway. All right.
Once I get used to this, you'll find another Memphis to come on the show. So
right.
I'm going to change my name to Jesse.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Well
Perfect.
played.
Well played. Let's jump right to show 152
Mhm.
for June 9th. We have a lot of mystery guests. So let me start by welcoming a couple folks that folks know, and we'll work our way through. Maybe they might know because they've been on before. Let me welcome back to the show Jesse Tuttle.
Hey, everyone.
There's Jesse, and I'm sure Amber is not too far off into the
I don't know which way. Probably there's Amber, there's Laura. So
and Laura. Yep. And I apologize, by the way, to Laura. I called her Amber the other day when we were in Woodstock. It's like, darn it!
and she
I wasn't
totally
going to do that.
you like it was nothing.
No, she looked at me like,
Oh,
I'm not Amber. What are you
it was
talking about?
just
I
like,
was
yeah,
like,
whatever.
oh, it's your sister. I'm sorry. I meant to. Anyway, Ryan Simmel is
Good
another
evening.
person on tonight. Good evening. And then we have Ernie Cantu. So Ernie,
Hi, username Cantuland. My name used to formerly known as Jesse.
oh, there you go.
Jeez.
Formerly known as. Wow, and that's a weird GC name to have on there too, man. That's
Yeah, I don't
really
know why I put
bizarre.
up with this abuse.
I tell you. All right, but so yeah, so Ernie Cantu, Cantu Land. I like that. It's like, is that like Candyland, Cantu Land? Whatever you want it to be.
One guy, he was thinking pilots and airports, and he goes, "Who is this? Can't you land?"
No, wave off. You can't land. Cantu
It's like
Land.
Disneyland, Cantu Land.
Perfect. Candyland, whatever you want it to be, right? All right. All right. So I'm actually we got a lot to talk about tonight, and so Ernie, I'm going to kind of let you, I guess, spill the beans, and then we'll kind of go from there. So, what do we got going on?
Well, there's something big that's going to happen next year, 2020, and it has something to do with a geocache that maybe a lot of people know about. The world's oldest active geocache. Maybe some people know the name of it. Little town of, what's it called? Mingo.
Mingo.
So next year at Mingo,
I'm showing the shirt, Ernie, while you're doing that.
ask me about Mingo. Mingo Madness. So we're gonna have this event, Mingo Madness.
Oh,
It's gonna be
Jesse
in
Stamp
Colby.
again.
That's the
Memphis
nearest
stand up.
city, close to Mingo.
Yep. Woo, and yep, Simmel's got a shirt there too. There you go. Mingo
There it is.
Madness,
Mingo
May
Madness.
2nd, 2020. Woohoo!
The main day is Saturday the 2nd, but we're gonna have it starting on Friday evening, the 1st, all day Saturday, and the tail end of Sunday.
And hey, you never know. There might be there may be stuff even before that. We don't know yet. We just don't know. But there may be. It's crazy. A lot of planning and a lot of things in
That's
the
for another
planning
show.
stages. That's for another show. Yep, there you go. But yeah, so tonight we're going to talk about a couple things. We're talking about Mingo Madness. That's our big surprise, and we're going to kind of give everybody all the update. While we're doing the update about this, and getting into the news and everything else, I do want to throw it to Jesse Tuttle, because Jesse, I want you to go ahead and start, because we want to get that. I know he's like, why am I start with me? But I want you to go ahead and get us launched. Website, electronically site kind of thing, and then we get into the show and we'll check back later and maybe we can figure out how we're doing and we'll explain why this is really important. So Jesse, kind of give a sort of a primer about Mingo on the internet for us.
Yeah. So our website's going to be mingo2020.com. It is up right now, mingo2020.com. When you go there, you're going to notice some key functions. There's a button to be able to view our Facebook page and follow that. That's where most of the official announcements will come out first. There's a button to go to the Facebook community group Just like with some other large events that I've been part of, and some people on this team has been part of, we like to build a page where that we can push out announcements, and a community group where people can socialize and interact and really start gelling their ideas and plans, and sharing their experiences after the event. When you look at the page, there's a section for lodging. We have our host hotel. Room blocks are currently up and open at $80 a night. Breakfast is included in that. You can request pet friendly at no additional cost. There's no deposit required to book. You just put a card to hold it. And all you got to do is ask for the geocaching group rate, and they will get you taken care of. There's one other key portion to the website. We have a section titled "Will Attend?" ? And what it is we are, nearly 11 months out from this monumental event. This event that's going to be a major milestone in the geocaching community, celebrating 20 years of the blue switch being flipped, and that very first stash being put out and then found. And Mingo happened just days after this, and it's we are planning big, really big. And so we don't have an event published yet. You will see the GC code for the event on the website. It's not live yet, but we're trying to get some will attend ideas. Fill out that form, give us your geocaching name, your email address, and how many people you expect to be in your party, and submit that. We're going to be gathering this data, compiling some information, some stats. We'll share it on the website some, and we're trying to find out what the upward number that we should be expecting, so that we can plan the correct venue, we can plan the correct everything. It's always better, from experience of planning an event or two, it is always better to plan bigger than what you need. So, if you might be coming, drop that quote "will attend." It's not an official will attend, but it really will help us. It will help the rest of the organizing team, the planners, and even the city that we are going to be visiting prepare for the impact.
Cool. Yeah, because something also with that, Ryan, I was just mention this too, or let you say something real quick about this part. So Jesse, like, and something we'll talk about tonight is how many. I mean, we got some big event people who have done big events in this room. Ernie's done some too. We're going to talk about all four of you guys have done massive events. But one of the things, Jesse, I want you to mention is that when you have an idea, if people will go out and they'll do a will attend, even though this is sort of an early will attend, but this can help you with not only venue type stuff, but it also helps you with, like, you can let sponsors know and vendors know and potential vendors and potential. I mean, it kind of is far reaching. I think people don't realize that it can be far reaching if you have some kind of numbers. You can then you can use those numbers to benefit the whole thing, right?
Yeah, let me just expand on that a little bit, because people don't understand how important that data is to just have written and submitted to us. We could always pull numbers out of the air and say, hey, blank number of people told us verbally that they will be there. But
Right.
When you log that will attend on an event, or you go to our site and you do this will attend form so that we have some data, you're not promising us that you will be there. It is the hey, I am planning to be there. I expect to be there. I want to be there.
Right.
So count me in, pencil me in. There's nothing set in stone. It's a
Right.
pencil me in. And here's what happens is we now have written data where that we can go to the city of Colby, Kansas. We'll be we're already looking working with we will say some of the elected officials and other things there, so we can say, hey, look, here's the data that has been submitted to us.
Right.
We care about that. When we talk to some of the vendors that may be coming out, or we're looking at working with a vendor to be able to provide swag to the event, or we're looking at sponsorships or donations, those will attends on an event or this will attend form is so crucial.
Right.
I hear it all the time. People go, well, I plan to be there. I want to be there, but I don't want to log my will attend until I have my flight book room, and that's not necessarily what a will attend is, at least from my experience,
Right.
because, I've been traveling to an event. It's Friday night, event starts Saturday morning, something happens, I don't show up. I don't lose sleep over that will attend I logged. It's better for that event host that I was going to be able to plan for me there, and then I not show up than not to be able to plan.
Cool.
So, just a little feedback.
Yep. No, thank you, Jesse. All right, so we'll get into Mingo Madness in a moment. We got a couple notes we need to take care of in the news, and then we'll get into the meat of the show tonight. But a couple things. One is we've got a new blog post on the geocachetalk.com website, and the link will be in the show notes. Show notes will be important tonight for many reasons, but it's in there. But if you go to our blog page, Little Sprinkles 67 put out a really good blog post, and hats off to her and also to Angie, our blog manager, for putting out that blog. So Memphis, did you happen to see we got us a new blog post out there?
Yeah, that's very cool. And yeah, she does a great job of getting everybody a chance to get their one post out there if they want it, or more if they want it. But
yeah,
we'd love to have people that are regularly contributing, but we definitely want anybody that wants to get their one story out there, because those are what people want to hear. They don't want to hear us every single time. They don't want to hear Angie every single time. They want to see all those different stories. So she's doing a great job with that. And thanks to Little Sprinkles for this newest contribution too. So
yeah, absolutely. And then you got to put a note. You just put this in the news. I did not know this, but we still have an FTF on a trackable that is not.
Yeah, only I hid, and I don't mind saying it now, but I hid 5 trackables in.
Oh, he told the number. Darn it! I was going to tell
okay. I mean, if you find one, you know that there's one of 5 or whatever, right?
Right.
But there's one that still nobody has found, and I didn't think that was going to be the hard one. I hit another one that several people found.
Right.
It was much harder. But this one I didn't think was that tricky, but nobody has found it yet. And
wow.
I thought the 5th one was going to be the hard one because I really split it up, and I'm not going to say how, where it is in the book for the people that haven't found it yet, but
right.
The one that I thought everybody would get, that nobody has found it, and that's just pretty funny so far. So because I'm tracking it, I can see exactly who finds them and logs them, right? So
right.
So that's a lot of fun. But yeah, there's still one unfound trackable in my book. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we sent some swag off to John Bishop. So if you're going to be one of the folks that's on the cruise that's going to the Bahamas to catch the waves, you might see some Geocache Talk swag in that you might get during that. But we sent him a couple books, and the books are doing well. I know Jesse, just to let people know because we really didn't get a chance to talk about this last week because we had our 3rd anniversary show, and we really didn't get a chance to really dive into some of the extras about Geo Woodstock last week. But I think we might have mentioned this or not, but I mean, you brought a bunch of books, and you sold and you and I both sold every book we had with us.
Well, and it was awesome. Great. Yeah. Even better than that was, and it was great to do that, because that's a risk always. You never know, we're not full-time booksellers, right? But,
right.
But we got to talk to everybody. It was a face-to-face. So it's great that they're selling on Amazon, and, we're able to add something to it. And we've heard great feedback from people on the books that we put out there. And that's awesome. I love that too. But we got to do it face-to-face and talk to people. And that's the best thing about those live events like that is we're actually getting to talk to the people face-to-face all these people that we see in the chat room, and
Yeah.
that was great to get to hand those to people directly like that. So that went really well, and it sounds like we're still adding something good to the geocaching universe. So that's great.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And that's just such a great idea to write a book about that. And Jesse and I, or Memphis and I are working on. We're talking about. We're actually collaborating. It'll be the first of our.
Yeah,
of our
we can't really say too much about this, Garrison. Don't give it away yet.
but we're collaborating on
we have
one.
a project that we're working on.
We have a project we're working on. We've got some other things in the works.
Definitely an added benefit for patrons.
Right.
Hopefully it'll be something really good for them. So
yeah, looking forward to that. So another quick note, because like I said, we got so much to get to tonight. But I do want to mention that the merch, we got a merch store now.
Yeah, merch store.
Merch is up. So merch store is up. You can buy the famous Ryan Simmel That's for Another Show glass. They're really nice too. They're nice and you got thick yeah.
Oh, those things are high quality.
Solid.
That's on the website right now.
It is. It's out there
during the show. Thank you.
Oh, there you go. Awesome.
And very useful, right?
Oh, yeah. And FYI, so that is all included. So if you're thinking it's how much, and then you're going to charge me for shipping and all this, so it's all included because shipping for these things is a little pricey. So what I did was I just rolled it into the price. So it's shipping's included. That one price covers it all for the glass.
Well, and you want it to come in this form, not in a sack of glass pieces.
Right.
So.
Right. So
you don't want it shipped up and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I've shipped one. I got one ready to go, and apparently I might have some more. But I got all the correct things to ship these in, and so it's a little bit extra because of that. But anyway, so it's out there. Don't forget the GC World book. GC World. I'm going to tout my game real fast because I was surprised I didn't sell a whole lot of it. There you go. Hey, Ryan's got a copy. I won't go into much detail about it, but I think it's a lot of fun. I won't speak to that. I'll let somebody else speak to that. But so there's the card. It's a card game.
It's a lot of fun, and we just really haven't had a chance to get out in public and play it much yet.
No,
the benefit of Texas being so big was we got to meet everybody. The downside was we really didn't get to play the game like we wanted to. So we'll have to do that again somewhere soon.
And Mr. Tuttle, I am going to send you the show notes, sir. So,
in fact, I know a place where I might be playing that game soon.
Oh, speaking of, yes, please do that.
Expert segue. Notes. Look at that! Wow,
perfect. You're becoming like a regular podcaster now.
I know. I ought to do this, weekly,
semi full time. Yeah.
So GC 88 Water Bison Altoid is going to be our event, Coffee with the Mafia in Hawaii, where I'll be on location in a few weeks, and we'll be broadcasting that's where I'll be signing into the Geocache Talk podcast from in a few weeks is Hawaii. So we're going on a family vacation down there, but of course we're going to cache, and of course we're going to throw an event, and of course we're going to try to meet new people while we're down there. So
absolutely. And
we're going to have a coffee event, and maybe we can even play your game while we're down there, and
awesome.
We may sling some Geocache Talk swag while we're down there too. But it's Hawaii, right? And posted it, and I got in the Facebook group. Was like, hey, where could I post this? People immediately responded.
Oh, that's awesome.
Posted the event and had 4 will attends like the first day, and
woohoo, that's awesome.
They have a pretty active community down there. So we've never been to Hawaii before, so it should be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's
we're going
awesome.
to Oahu. Yeah. Somebody said which island? We're going to Oahu. So there's a webcam. There's Pearl Harbor. There's Black Diamond. It's a dormant volcano, but there's all kinds of stuff down there. So
Diamond Head, just Diamond Head.
Yeah, Diamond Head. That's what it is. Not Black Diamond. Black Diamond skiing. That's right.
When Susan and I were there, you could. I assume it's the same. It's been a while since we've been there, but you can climb to the top of it. and you're in decent shape. I mean, I know Christy can get to the top, so
Yeah, she'll drag me up to the top. I'll be okay.
she'll drag you to the top of it. But
I wonder if she can like have a rope and I'll have like skis or something on, and she can just drag me up the hill.
There's right. There is a virtual there too, by the way. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, that's awesome. Good
So that'll be a lot of fun. Of course, when you travel, everybody when you travel host an event.
Yeah, oldest in Hawaii, I think it's on Oahu.
It is. And
That's
every
awesome.
cache type will be there, and I get to add on the event too while I'm there since I did that. So we'll
awesome.
get them all. So that's great.
Perfect.
But
that's
anyway,
awesome.
so GC88 Water Bison Altoid. If you happen to be listening to us right now and you're in Hawaii, come down and visit with us. So
you gotta go.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might actually have some swag with you, right?
I will absolutely have some swag with me. Well, I'm sure we'll do a little giveaways and stuff like that too, because that's always fun. So, and coffee, right? So,
and coffee can't go wrong. And Kona coffee, man. I don't have time for that. That's for another show.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I have some coin winners, and then we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get the show. So coin winners. We did something a little different this time, which I appreciate. And our patron that's over in Belgium, she goes, "Hey, what about a special giveaway or one of the giveaways not just be audio? What about for international listeners?" And I go, "That's an awesome idea."
Yeah.
So I've got 2 coins to give away. I have an audio, and then I have an international, which is also audio typically, but I have both. And so, and I need to go back and figure out which is which. So do not quote me on that. I'm going to show both coins because I have to go back and look and see which ones I promised to who. But there's the 2 coins I'm giving away. It's from the maze. I got the gold and the regular. Those are cool looking coins too. So I'm sure Mr. Tuttle was involved in some of that probably a little bit. So
you could say that a little bit.
a little bit involved.
A little bit involved.
Sure.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. So the winner of the coins is good old random.org. I love that. I don't have to deal with that. I just go random.org, how many people sent in. And we need more people to send in their guests. I mean, I was surprised. Come on, folks. You got a chance at it. I mean, unless you don't want a coin, or whatever we're giving away. I mean, who knows? We might give away a book sometime or a card game. Send in. It's just email geocachetalk@gmail.com. Boom, boom, done. We don't use them for marketing purposes. We're not that slick. Memphis and I aren't that.
So you're intentionally delaying announcing the winners, aren't you? You're just torturing them.
I'm just torturing them, but I want people to know, because people are like, "Oh, if I send my email address, I'm going to get spammed." It's like,
no,
we don't track any of that stuff. That's not. We're not that savvy. So don't worry about it. Just send me your email address. Winner is, for the audio side of it, Nancy won Deadliest Cachers. So congratulations to her for winning that. And the other winner is Jason Cachosaurus. I love that name. He is in Canada. So we can start singing "Oh Canada." Okay. So Jason won Cachosaurus. So congratulations, winners. And I will get your coins out hopefully tomorrow is my plan. So
we can't say anything about what we're doing behind the scenes this week, can we?
Oh, no, you can kind of mention.
Can we just say that we're doing something behind the scenes? We're collaborating. We're having like what do we call it the other day? Like a board meeting?
Yeah, it's kind of
behind the scenes secret planning session for something really, really big coming up.
Yep.
But it's a patron invite only behind the scenes.
Yep.
This week that we can't say anything about yet. It's for another show, obviously. It'll be for another lot of shows because this planning thing will be huge. So we're meeting with a few people this week to plan that out. So I really want to talk about it, but we can't. So
I know, we can't. But that's another benefit of being a patron is you'll be in on the planning, and we are
huge.
It's a big item.
Probably the biggest thing we've done.
Yeah, and what we're doing is we're inviting the patrons, all our patrons to be, and I know some won't be able to make it, and that's okay because we're going to that I will check. I am going to collate all of the comments, the questions, the feedback, positive or negative, the patrons give. We are gonna collate all that because patrons are cool with us doing that. We're gonna gather all that together. And then, of course, Jesse and I will make a final. Memphis and I will make a final on that. But I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be fabulous. But we wanted the patrons to be involved. So, so that's coming up this week. We're going to have a meeting, a board meeting. That's a good way to put it. All right, let's get into Mingo Madness.
Yes.
GC 30. I pulled this the other day, but I want to mention some notes, and then Ernie, I want to talk about a couple events that occurred out there. So stand by, my friend. I want to talk about 10 years and 15 years, and then really it's open. Really anybody can comment. I didn't want to, but I just want to mention that we are going to do that. But so GC 30, it's on our shirts. What's funny is it's in the game, so I had to show it. So there's GC 30. It's one of the cards in the card game. It's got to be, right. It's got to be one of the cards.
Yeah.
So there it is.
One of the GC numbers that people actually know.
GC 30. Yep. GC 30. So it's hidden May 11th of 2000. It is. Remember this, people, because this is important. There isn't another geocache out there that is that old.
No, it's the oldest cache.
It's the oldest active cache,
undisputed,
in the world. So when it turns 20, everybody else will just be a teenager. That's it.
That's right.
They're all teenagers. The first adult is going to be Mingo. It has 2,696 favorite points. It probably has more than that now. I think
it's at 2,700 now.
2,700.
The last I checked.
Check it. It changes every day. You're right. You're exactly right. 7,098 probably changed now. It's probably over 7,100 fines. So you're wondering, of course, why this cache? Well, why would it not be this cache? I mean, when the blue switch, which is when the event when the blue switch is 20 years old, you can be there. You can be at the event. So, but there have been a couple a couple celebrations that occurred. There was an event on the 10 year, and there was an event in the 15 year, and now we've got this massive event that we're going to do for the 20 years. So, Ernie, I've got the show. In the show notes. I've got the GC codes for both. But let's talk a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up a screen share, and let's talk a little bit about the 15 year and what all occurred just to give people maybe a taste of what they might be seeing, at different events and what you did for the 15. So let me do a screen share real quick. And so let me hang on a second. Let me make sure I'm clicked on myself. And,
hey, Barry.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Real quick, Tom did bring up a great point. And I get this question a lot when it's talking about old caches. So it is a very easy cache to remember because it is GC30.
Yep.
But what people don't realize is when geocaching.com first went and published all these geocaches, they didn't take it in order by date.
Oh, so right. Good point.
Geocaches with our lower GC code.
Yeah.
Because if you've listened to some of the lackeys, your first geocaches in Washington State and the surrounding states, they numbered first.
Yeah.
And then they went all the different states in alphabetical order. That's why Mingo, which is the oldest active cache in the world, is GC30.
Right. GC12 is still out there.
Yeah, somebody else was talking about GC 31, Rickery, which was placed by the same cache owner as Mingo. Also another great geocache, but that's why it's GC30.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And 31 is still available if you want. If you come to 30, you could probably make a trip out to Area Carry, or we're not sure about the name. People call it different things, but it's that's available. You know, and that's something I think we'll be able to talk about a little bit tonight. Is people are going to be like, well, yeah, I could get Mingo on there, but I already got Mingo. Why would I want to come to the event? We're going to talk about why I think you should come and why everybody else thinks
there may be some other stuff going on.
There may be a lot of other stuff going on.
And you know,
so
another good thing that was
get
brought
into
up
that.
too, and I think it's worth talking about right here at the beginning is,
Yeah.
this is not a competition with Woodstock. This is not a competition with anything else. This is adding one more thing to the 20-year celebration, right? There's lots of people all over the country that can travel sometimes the years, sometimes can't go to other. Some people may be able to go to every event that happens next year. Some people will have to select which ones they go to. Some people, because of time of year, can go to one but can't go to other. This is one more thing added to the big 20-year celebration that's happening all year long. You know, just like anything else, this is just one more cool thing to do. You know, it's not a, hey, come to this, don't go to that. You know, it's not that spirit. That's not the spirit of geocaching. This is how much cool crap can we pack into 1 year, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a big year.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you know, we haven't even heard everything yet, but this is just one more huge thing. I swear I'm going to have to retire. Just for a year. Can I take a year sabbatical? Is that even a thing? I don't know.
You know, here's something I didn't even realize until not long ago when I was doing a little research into Mingo.
Mhm.
You know, Simmel started to hit on it that, you know, the GC codes did not go in order. I didn't even realize that Mingo was the 7th stash ever placed. It is the 7th one. So Dave Ulmer went out and placed the first stash.
Mhm.
Right.
Teague did the next two, number 2 and 3.
Right.
Dave Ulmer did 4 and 5. Then there was a number 6, and then Mingo got placed as number 7. So the oldest active is the 7th original cache ever placed. And so, you know, it's not about competing. It's not about, hey, come do this or go do that. It's about, you know, we really want to give the best opportunities for the community to celebrate this monumental year.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. All right. So I want to talk about this a little bit. Then Ernie, also, you have some good info that'll lead into the information that Ernie has about things that have occurred out there and things I didn't even realize, Ernie, about, because, you know, I was there when 14er was happening in Denver. And but I didn't realize some of these other stories about the cement, and I mean, we'll get into that in a second. All right, so let me do a screen share, and I'm gonna have you kind of walk us through what occurred on the for that event. So okay, so if you want to play along at home, it's GC query. I'm gonna get it. Query rating X file event.
There you go.
QRXE. I'm trying. I gotta memorize that thing.
With that on there.
Yeah, there's a shirt, by the way. Yeah, and you can buy that shirt soon. That's another story. It's for another show. All right, so Ernie, tell us a little bit about the event that you did here in 2015.
Okay, so in 2015, we thought we would celebrate the 15th anniversary of not of Mingo, but of geocaching.
Right.
The sport of geocaching, and to celebrate that at Mingo. So we had this event, and if you go to Mingo, you find out it's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. It's like a desert.
This is true.
So we're advertising that people, if you're going to come, we've got a highway overpass in case there's a tornado because it's in Kansas. And if you get hot, we're going to have water. If there's going to be snow, if there's going to be some freak accident, it doesn't snow at that time. Sometimes it does. But yeah, it's going to be an all-weather thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
well,
50th
yeah.
anniversary.
Yeah, so the
Was
50th anniversary. Yep. So tell us a little bit about what occurred that day.
The 15th anniversary. Well, at the 10th anniversary,
Right.
10th anniversary of geocaching, we had a balloon launch, and we did some research. You know, we want to be kind of like with the CETOs and earth friendly. So we did some research on what kind of balloons we want to use. The vinyl balloons, because they will
Biodegrade.
about
Yeah.
the same as an oak leaf. So the mylar balloons, you fill up those mylar balloons and they'll just stay inflated and they'll stick around forever. So we did not use those mylar balloons.
Oh, cool. Good. That was good thinking.
And so at the 15th year, we thought we'd go ahead and do the same thing.
Cool.
And we had this balloon launch. It was awesome. Balloons went everywhere. And each one had a note attached saying it was released at the GCQ RXE event, and it told about the event.
Oh, cool.
Here's contact information. It said, see if you find one of these, contact us. Let us know how far it went.
Right.
I just remember there was one in Olathe. There were a few others.
Okay.
Olathe is on the east side of Kansas, and Mingo is on the west side of Kansas. So
wow,
the lengthways.
That's cool.
The state.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's a great idea. So,
Kansas is located centrally in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I get asked every now and then, what's the oldest geocache in Kansas? And I say, well, it's Mingo. And they're like, okay. I said, by the way, that's not just the oldest one in Kansas. It's the oldest one in the United States, the oldest one in North America. It's the
oldest in the world.
There were only 6 others that were older, and they've been gone forever.
Yeah.
This has been around for a long time.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Jesse.
So it's also not only is it in the center of the country, that's important because the other big 20-year celebration is very far northwest of the country. Now, this 20-year celebration, for people who can't make it over there, is at a different time and at a different location. It's right in the center of the country. So it's kind of spreading it out. So it's just adding more to the landscape of the year and a little geographically different too. So either it's an additional thing you get to do, or it's an alternative thing that you get to do if you can't do the other one. You know, so there's a lot of benefit to having. It just happens to be at Mingo, which is the oldest, right in the middle of the country. So that's good as well.
And it just happens that Denver's only a couple hours from it. So that's where I'm flying in and having fun.
There you go.
Perfect.
That's a good way to do it.
So, you had kind of I think a cool setup there, Ernie. You had, like you said, you had a lot of people there. Here's a shot from there. We're going to talk about Colby, Kansas, in a little bit, because I think we wanted people to know that we're talking about this. This is a huge event, and we've got the infrastructure. It's not just come to the prairie and stand there for a minute, and
right.
It's not like, I mean, there's a little more to this year, but I think it's cool that you actually had an event kind of out there, and we'll talk about some of the plans that are possible potentially for people to go out to Mingo. Obviously, you can get it anytime you want, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. But looks like y'all had,
If you're looking to get something, you're thinking, well, I live anywhere in the world. What should I get? How about the geocaching mecca of the geocaching world?
Oh,
Mingo.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants to get Mingo.
This is one. I logged Mingo in 2016 when we went out to the Woodstock.
Yeah,
and the Woodstock. But it literally, the emotional feeling I had from it was, I have completed this pilgrimage, this part of my geocaching journey. So if you've not been there, Mingo it's just a pilgrimage to do. And, it's going to be like going to HQ. It's like, it's right up there. The original stash even.
Absolutely.
I think it's fair to say that several people have gotten Mingo. So many of the people that are going to go to this event have gotten Mingo before, have made that trip before, but it's not. We're not just going to gather 1,000 people and stick them in a field, right? That's not the plan for the event. Hey, guess what, guys? You've already got this, but come anyway. There's tons of stuff already on the plan. I know you can't mention everything today, But you got tons. We can tease some of this stuff though, right?
Yeah, there is going to be cool stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute. Hang on a second. Hang on.
You gotta let them. You gotta get there.
I know we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to get there quick. So Ernie, a couple final notes. One thing you mentioned is, of course, the containers changed a little bit, but I guess that people know something I didn't realize because I saw a photo at some point, but so at some point concrete was poured.
Yes, 2 different times.
Two different times. Okay.
2 different times.
So
over
yeah, go ahead.
The history of Mingo.
Tell about it. Yeah. Tell about that.
As Mingo is sitting there attracting people from all over the world, the locals are kind of going, "What's the deal?"
Right.
So they thought they see all these strangers coming from off the highway, coming over to this little drop site, opening it up and doing some kind of mischievous kind of things, and then mysteriously leaving. And they're like, "We don't really like this stuff going on."
Yeah.
So they thought they would do something to try and stop whatever this activity is, whatever's going on. So they would take the container. We'd put another one out. They'd take it again. We'd put another one out. They said, that doesn't work. Let's fill it up with manure.
Oh, no.
Clean that out. And replace the container again. So, okay, well, that didn't work. What else are we going to do? Well, we're going to fill it up with glue.
Oh, no. Seriously?
And the glue never actually solidified. It was just kind of slimy stuff.
Right.
But it did. We had a metal container there, and it did kind of eat away at it. But we cleaned that out, and Mingo lived. And they're like, okay, so that's, I don't know what's going on. These guys just persistently come to this, no matter what we do.
Right.
So they got this idea. We know what we're going to do. We're going to fill it up with concrete. And so they filled it up with concrete, and they're thinking, there, it's permanently sealed. Then I saw on some of these forums, somebody put out a video, and in the video it says, "Oh, Mingo's going to go." I mean, it's filled with concrete, and in this little cartoon video it says, "No, it won't. You'll see. Not even concrete will stop it."
That's awesome.
That was so funny because we had this plan in progress,
and they kind of helped out.
We some people that I know,
right?
So the people that I know who did this, they went out and totally destroyed the concrete. Then on the second trip, well, see, the first guy, he broke up all the concrete. He told us that there was a chain underneath with all kinds of irons, and like they really wanted that thing to have some chunks in there, so it was not going to come out. Well, we got it out.
Right.
They even had this little pin that would come up with some surveying ribbon, some colored flagging tied to it. So you look at it and you go, "Oh no, some surveyor's doing something. We should leave it alone." What they didn't know was that some of the people who watched that are land surveyors, and what they did was not the work of a professional land surveyor. To the eyes of a professional land surveyor, it looked like vandalism.
Right.
So it was obvious that it wasn't a surveying thing. It wasn't some kind of construction stuff to stay away from.
Right.
So we got the concrete out, cleaned it up, put a new container in there. And I remember seeing a log by some user named Crenevia.
Yeah.
Crenevia posted, "Hey, this is back."
So a couple
hurdle.
Yeah, so a couple things, and we want to get into the event, but I do want to let people know, because I think this is something that was kind of interesting. I didn't realize this, but a couple things. One is, so Ernie, there was some talk with the farmer that's near there. So just people know that you guys eventually did contact that farmer, and because it's not on his property, it is Correct me if I'm
Highway
wrong.
30.
Road right away, county road right away.
It's county road, right? It's managed by the county. So and the county's aware of it, and so forth and so on. So people
They're
don't need
happy
to.
it's there.
Yeah, they are. But you did at least contact the farm because the farmers for a while there, the farmer was like, people don't, people could go to this, but I don't want people get on my property and so forth and so on. But you guys actually contacted the farmer and talked to him, and now he's like kind of on board with all this, right? I mean, to an extent.
Yeah, we contacted the farmer. He likes the idea of it now that he knows it's not some kind of a drug site.
Right.
There's
Good.
one guy, Cross Mage. He has this story where he drives up to Mingo, and he's just going to do a regular a Mingo stop. He's going to go ahead and sign the logbook. As soon as he pulls up, somebody drives up in front of him and behind him, and the first thing he hears is, "We got one of them geocachers."
That's awesome. Wow.
So they questioned him, and it was more like an interrogation. Who are you?
No.
What are you doing? Why are you here? And Crossmage told him all about Mingo. And so I think that was the first time they actually found out that it might be a good thing.
Right. That's awesome.
The concrete still happened afterwards. So then we contacted them, and they contacted other farmers and said, "Hey, this is actually a good thing." He even says, "I heard that they even filled it up with concrete."
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They certainly did.
Incredible. Yeah. So and then let's get into a little bit. So Ryan, tell people. So when we started talking about this, you were like Colby, Kansas, and I'm like, okay, tell me about. I was like, interesting. I don't know anything about Colby. I do now, but tell people why Colby, Kansas, and tell people the excitement that has occurred in Colby already, and kind of tell people about why Colby, Kansas is a great thing.
Okay. So I was at the 2015 event that Ernie put on. And if you haven't been in Kansas in the month of May, sometimes it gets a little warm. So we had a certain individual who may or may not be on this show, not wearing a green shirt, who forgot to drink water. So towards the end of the event,
so fast.
Oh no! So as most people know, who've ran an event knows that once you, I know my pictures, once you are in that event, you'll get going and just forget to do things. I'll admit when I had Moga, and there's a few people in the chat room, maybe it'll tell you I forgot to do a lot of things. Eat, sleep. Those things are not important. So after 2015, already know it wants to be done again. Ernie had lunch with Juan, who was going to be on the show, but he had some Google problems.
Yeah.
He's in Google jail tonight. So they figured out every 5 years falls on a weekend. And we knew 2020 would be the next big year. We wanted to make something big. So I sat there, I had a thought, and I'm like, you know what? I know Ernie's a busy man down there in Wichita. I want to make this a big event. So after hosting Moga, getting a couple of contacts to other big events that I did, I'm like, how can we make this a bigger event? Like we mentioned, if you haven't been to Mingo, there's nothing but farmland around you. So one of the things we were looking at is to do something possibly inside for weather.
Wow, that's awesome.
So we looked, and if you've been out to Mingo, you either have Colby, or I'm trying to remember the name south of it. Oakley, thank you. And if you've been to Oakley, you didn't see a whole lot because there's not a lot in Oakley. So we called around, called out to Oakley, found out there's not a whole lot out there. Started talking out there in yeah, I just forgot the name again. The other place.
Oh, Colby and Oakley.
Colby.
There's a couple though. I don't know if you
Yeah.
but Colby and Oakley are basically the two big ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we called Colby, and at first, because I've been out to Mingo 6 times at least. That's the
Right.
number I can remember and count. So during the trips, one of the times I went out, there was an event at a restaurant right there in Colby. I noticed they had a little convention center. And the convention center was the city limits convention center. They say they could hold probably 300 to 500 people. I'm like, that would be awesome. So we started talking to them, started getting it worked out. They said, you can have it for that weekend. So time goes on, making phone calls, find out there's over 800 hotel rooms in the city of Colby. So
Wow, that's incredible.
then you also have right north of town, you have the county fairgrounds. They do camping out there. So we have our RV space for our RV
wow
riders and tent people who like to camp. There's places for them to stay. So I know once you start working through progression of an event, something, even if it's small or big, you need places for people to sleep, place for people to eat, and somewhere to have the event.
Yep.
So we had all 3 of them there. Continuing to talk, we started talking to the assistant mayor of Colby.
Right.
He also runs another small building that's out there, the Colby Community Building. Not a very interesting name, I understand.
Well, I think it's called it's the Tuttle Center, right, Jesse?
I heard something about Slinkard Center.
We're gonna put a big sign out, and somebody's gonna sponsor that puppy.
Well,
I don't want
Jesse Center.
the Flat
Yes.
Jesse
The
Center.
flat
I love
there
it.
we go.
So
Here.
one thing too, and before I'm gonna send it back to you, Ryan, in a second. But one thing I want people to realize is that you got me who just wants to talk, but you've got Memphis Mafia involved with a Geo Woodstock 14er, which I thought was incredible. That was my first big mega. You've got Ernie's done multiple events. He was involved with the heart of this whole thing. You've got Ryan Semmel, who's involved with Moga and with other Woodstocks, and then you have Jesse Tuttle. I mean, Gigastock. I mean, you can't get any bigger than Giga, and so just on tonight. And Juan's been involved. I feel bad Juan couldn't make it on tonight, but you got people who have put on and been involved with and know how to put on quality events. So just to let people know, this event is in safe hands and there's other people that are involved in this as well. So the brain trust is quite is in good hands. So all right, so Ryan, I know you and Jesse Tuttle have talked a little bit about talking with people at Colby. So go ahead, Ryan, keep going, and then we'll get Jesse to kind of make
after running Moga. And I've talked about a couple other mega events since. I had a couple of my friends from Moga say, you need to find new friends. I didn't find new friends. I added to the group.
There you go.
A couple of people in the chat room right now, and they're also patrons of the show.
Right.
And they'll probably jump on here. I cashed with all of them today. They wanted to know what the big news was. Well, they already know about Mingo Madness. Because we've been spreading the word for a while. We knew it was going to happen for the last 5 years. Geo Woodstock, you probably saw some of these shirts walking around. I don't know if she's in the chat room when she was walking around telling people about Mingo Madness, what it's going to be, stuff like that. So we've been continuing to progress the situation. We want it to be as big as possible. I know the talks are out there about, is it going to be mega? Giga, all these words in the chat room.
Yeah.
I just want to be a big, successful event celebrating the selective availability, the switch. We all call it the big blue switch.
Yep.
Changing the selective availability happened on May 2nd, 2000. That's why Ernie chose this weekend to do this event. So it's the beginning of the hobby that we play.
It actually worked out really well because we talked about after that. We said, wait a minute, what about this date? What about that date? And then just without getting into all the details, it was like, nope, that date's not going to work because of this, and this. And it's like, nope, that date's not going to work. So when all the dust settled about this date, it's like, no, that's not going to work. That's going to be a huge problem. This is going to when it all the dust settled. Ernie, May 2nd is still the greatest date.
Second was still glowing,
Mhm.
standing above the dust.
Yep.
It was the best date for this event, and so it was perfect. And so talk a little bit about and we'll get like so I get Tuttle to talk about because he's involved with CVBs. He's knows about conventions, visitors bureaus, and so forth. And so I know the two of y'all have talked with the folks there, and so it moved basically without people knowing it. It moved to the community building. So talk, Brian. I guess we'll start with you. Why did that venue end up becoming sort of the venue?
So one of the big things we're looking at is we
Somebody
know
got overheated.
2020 is humongous.
Yeah.
2020 is gonna be a humongous year. I know I want to go to every event there is, but I do want to stay married through 2020. One of the biggest things we're looking at is to keep it as reasonable pricing as possible.
Sure.
And for those who've ever hosted an event, either being a small meet and greet like Jesse's getting ready to have out in Hawaii, all the way up to Giga Stock.
Right.
There's costs that are involved with everything.
Right.
So one of the talks was doing it Memorial Day weekend. Well, Memorial Day is a big travel weekend. Would almost double some hotel rooms.
Oh,
Right.
So we said May 2nd sounds great because we can keep the rooms up. I know Jesse talked about at the beginning of the show. We've had some people jump on the chat since the beginning. We do have a hotel that is giving us a room rate of $80 a night.
wow. Already.
Breakfast, by the way.
And that includes
Oh,
breakfast.
incredible.
Unfortunately, you will not be able to see Memphis or Jesse or myself or anybody in swimsuits. They don't have a swimming pool, but you're going to have so much asking to do anyway.
That doesn't mean we can't be in swimsuits. It just means they don't have a swimming pool.
Break out the rubber duckies.
That's right.
So the cost is really involved. I know we're running long on time. I know you want to keep the show somewhat close to time.
You're fine. We do have a lot of stuff we want to talk about too, but you're right. Go ahead.
So we're looking at the facility. The first convention center was going for quite a pretty penny for the middle of nowhere. So after talking to the assistant mayor, who also runs the convention center, we're like, you know what? Sounds great. Let's move towards that. So then we start getting some details.
I'll just put this out there before Ryan says anything, but not to share any numbers, but the city is rather interested in bringing in geocachers, and they're going to work I'm pretty confident they're going to work really hard to do everything they can for the community.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because so like you said, so you talk to them, and we've got and we're going to be able to give them some hard numbers. Hard, you know what I mean, as far as convention center type numbers. You can use that as
for 50 heads on the Willetton form.
Wow, already.
So
Less than an hour. That's awesome. 15-hour times no, okay, never.
No, let's not count that high. Now, and I know people are talking about hotel rooms. No, it is not the Holiday Inn Suites. They have offered us pricing, but we are working that rate as well. Right now, that is the Sleeps Inn and Suites. And I know the Chamber highly recommended them.
They do. There is a Holiday. There is, by just to let you know, there is some quality. I mean, if you want to go that route, just so people can know, there's a Hampton Inn. There's a Holiday Inn Express. There's
Motel 6, Super H, you name it. There's probably one there.
Which is surprising. There's a very wide range of hotel options.
Let everyone know. Our team is actively working with there's 8 hotels in the vicinity, and we're working already with all 8 of them to establish discounted rate room blocks. So if you want to book at the Holiday Inn, or you want to book at Motel 8 or whatever, and you don't see that on the website yet, give it a moment. It will be there soon. Some of them rates are, they're 3 digits and mid 3 digits. I don't like that. I'm working, and Simmel's working, and the CVB there is working very hard to try and get double-digit rates.
I promise you, I know of somebody who knew about the event coming up, went on Travelocity or whatever site it was, or whatever website you went on, and tried to book Holiday Inn Express right there in Colby.
Yep.
And right now, the rate that we have is beating it by, I think it was $15. We're trying to get it lower. We're going to do everything we can to keep the price as close to that $100 mark as possible. Now, remember, we're fighting with people trying to make money as well, because, hey, that's what their business. They're there to make money. But if we can sell their hotel out at $120 a night for the whole hotel, guess what? I think that they will bring it down to that $120 a night. Now, I can't promise them rooms. I can't promise them anything. But come out, stay wherever you're going to stay. Hey, if you want to rent an RV, I remember last year for Gigastock, somebody rented a van from Denver, drove all the way out to Cincinnati in it. Hey, if you want to rent a van, anything is possible. And we're going to have places for you to stay. Hotels, Airbnb is out there. I'm not sure how big the Airbnb selection is. I have not looked at the Airbnb selection yet. Right now, we're working with the Chamber, and Chambers don't always like the word Airbnb because they don't see it.
Yeah, but
so
for us,
I have not looked at that.
Yeah, the other thing too is that you can be creative because, again, you can stay near. You don't have to stay in Colby, although that'd be cool because a lot of things. I mean, that's the hub. A lot of things are going to happen in Colby. You never know what Memphis is going to do in the middle of the night. I mean, he might be up a tree throwing coins at people. Who knows what Memphis is
quite possible.
Any trees out there?
Right. He might be on the top of a building throwing coins at people. Who knows what he's doing? But there are.
You may have somebody steal Mingo.
Yeah. You'd be like Sodak Zach. Yeah, he might steal Mingo. There you go. But yeah. So there are, like you said. So there's going to be options.
Yep.
And there's places around there that you might find of interest we don't have tonight to get into like everything you can do. Cathedral of the Plains it's for another show. Exactly. But there already is a lot of cool caches in this area. There's gadget caches in this area already. That's not including
Olsen. For anybody who's been out to Mingo, you probably found 1 or 3 of his gadget caches. If you right down about 2.5 miles down the road, his hometown that he lives in Hayes, he has gadget caches galore.
Oh yeah,
he has more favorite points than I can count. So we are continuing to work on it. Memphis Mafia has already said, "Hey, if you need caches placed, let me know."
Did he really? Let me make a note of that.
Yeah. let me write that down again. Memphis.
Mafia committed to no.
All
I've
the
got some good ideas for those already. I know we can't talk about them all of those tonight, but
Yeah.
there's some.
we
There's going to be some more caches out there.
we're still in the early phases. I know just from the minds that are in here, if anybody knows any of the people on this screen right now down in that bottom corner,
Yep.
you know ideas will run crazy. Ernie, some of the ideas I heard from him during the 15-year, I would love to make them come true. But last time I checked, I didn't have power to pull a military flyover, but we're going to try.
We're going to try a lot of things.
We're going to try all kinds of stuff. And that's the benefit of actually being in Colby. A lot of what we're going to do throughout the Friday and early morning Saturday is going to be right there in Colby.
Yeah.
Some of the things we're looking at is a Friday night event. Possibly doing some things for those who've completed county challenges, maybe a Kansas County challenge.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Like
Kind
a
of like
finish,
Texas does.
yeah, like a finishers event. That'd be
And
cool.
there's going to be other type of events we're looking at.
Oh yeah.
Nothing I say is set in stone.
Right.
It's still early. It's still
early.
We're still so early in the planning phase that if you get on Facebook, go into that community group and say, hey, why don't we have a
Whatever
Mingo for everybody that goes to the Mingo event sitting along the highway? Hey,
ooh, a pink flamingo.
If you want to provide the flamingos, I will gladly work on it. But we're in that phase where if you want some crazy idea,
giant hot
every bridge.
Oh, there you go. Well,
hot air balloons.
Hot air balloon, right? Pink flamingo hot air balloon.
So we're looking at all these different things. I've been talking about this event so long, people will call me and say, hey, Ryan, what about this?
That's good.
Ernie calls me up or goes into a message group, says, hey, how about this? We put it on the list. Now the list is getting long. We're going to have to cut a lot of stuff out. But we are looking at doing some things.
Well, that's part of brainstorming. Yeah.
Some things to leave our mark for the next 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So not mentioning what it's going to be, but something that you'll be able to visit even after Mingo Madness is some of the things we're looking at possibility doing.
Right.
I would like to, one thing I love about Geo Woodstocks is the communication, the classes, the breakout sessions. We are going to do some of those type things. I know people who are good at challenge caches and where I goes. People who do surveys, that has this equipment that costs a couple $1,000. It gives them coordinates.
Ooh.
I don't know who that would be either.
Interesting.
Some of the things that we can talk about.
What do you say, Ernie?
It's a couple thousand. That's extremely cheap.
Right.
So we're selling a GPS for the funness.
Right.
But
major
some of the things. Also looking at the new caches. I know, like I said, talked to Adi Olson in the past. He says that he will help out. Memphis talked about helping out with caches. Who knows what the CVB will allow us to do? We're going to talk to them. I know when I did Moga out here, we had a big GeoArt. Is it possible? We don't know yet because we haven't talked to the farmers. One thing I do want to do a GeoArt is I don't just go out and place a whole bunch of caches. When we did the GeoArt here for Moga, I sent out, I think it was 97 letters to the local landowners letting them know that there's going to be these little containers hiding somewhere near their property in the public right away, just so they know what's going on. I don't want I want everybody to be safe when they go to an event. I don't want them to go look for a cache and have a gun pulled on them. And all these other things you hear on the news or in all the Facebook posts and stuff like that. So we're gonna do the best we can to keep you busy. But always remember that Mingo is the big point, and celebrating the 20 years of selective availability is the other big thing.
Sure.
So one of the other things we're looking at doing is, I know everybody wants to go see Mingo. And I know we want to do possibly another balloon launch or something to that effect. And we may have to start ordering balloons now from some of the numbers I'm seeing in the chat room.
Right.
Because they may need to make some new balloons. But what we're going to do is, right now we're looking at is in the afternoon on Saturday. We're going to meet in Colby, possibly get some school buses, take everybody over, because if everybody drove their own vehicles over, we may run out of parking. Actually, we will run out of parking.
We will run out of parking. Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be some coordination of that for sure.
Yes,
absolutely.
And we may have some shinies to entice you to ride a bus. Who knows? We do have Jesse on board. Every person that is on the group for a reason. Jesse likes shiny things. So who knows? We will have a GeoCoin. We already have the GeoCoin designed.
Ooh, cool.
We have a GeoCoin design. Now, China may not like us even more they don't like us right now because of this design. I think last time we looked, it was like 20 different colors on the coin.
It was a bit much.
So, but these are the things we're looking at. We are going to be having T-shirts. We're going to have path tags. Well, I won't say that. I haven't talked to pathtags.com yet, but we are planning on having path tags.
Yeah. You can tell about the you're hoping for.
We're hoping for other shiny things. GC minis, maybe. And some other things that we can get.
Yeah.
We want to allow people to remember Mingo Madness 2020. So when they sit back, look at because if I was sitting down in my office, I'd have all these coins sitting behind me. Look at those coins, and you're like, oh, I remember that fashion green.
That's right.
The green one, because the blackout one must still be in the car. So you remember those things. You sit back and you look at those shiny things sitting on the wall, and you're like, I remember that. I remember Mingo 2020. I hope they do something for 2025, 2030. Any anniversary there is big, I'm going back. So we're keeping it exciting for everybody. I know there's power cachers out there. I know there's people who just love the favorite points. You mentioned Cathedral on the Plains.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great
cache. In the book. I don't have the book with me, but it's in a book that I heard about. Also, one of my favorite caches in Kansas, Orickery Breaks, GC31. There's other ones. I was just talking with a group of cachers today. I was out caching, doing a whole bunch of mob caches in Kansas City.
Cool.
And we were talking about, because everyone knows Kansas is flat. For those who came to Moga, I made sure you remember Kansas is flat. So we were talking about some caches that are out west that are just amazing. And these are things we'll share. We'll make sure we have pocket queries of all these different caches that Kansans think are great. I know Ernie's been caching for way longer than I have in Kansas. Jesse's Memphis is really not that far away, so he's cached so much in Kansas that he may become a Kansas citizen. He owns where I go in Kansas.
I do, in fact. You're right.
Oh, wow.
Highest point in Kansas.
Yeah. Well, and the way this works too is that Memphis just needs to sort of just look at a spot like this. He looks at a spot in Kansas, and an earth cache just appears out of nowhere. So.
I don't think I have one in Kansas.
Well, you will. I know.
Yeah.
All right. So let's
don't steal it.
All right. So I want to switch gears real quick. So Memphis, I want to ask you a couple things about this. So, from your perspective, what is it about? And kind of let's kind of put the event aside for a minute. But what does Mingo mean to you? And maybe that can kind of relate, because I think people are like, yeah, there's an event, sounds cool. Yeah, Mingo. But tell people in your perspective as to why it's worth it to go to Mingo.
So Mingo or Mingo Madness?
Well, both, but I think I want to.
Okay.
I want to
Two different
switch a little
questions,
bit.
really, right? But I mean,
It is, but I want to tie back to
If you're from out of state and you haven't found it yet,
right
oh
that kind
gosh,
of
yeah, I
thing.
think
Deal
it's
about
and
Mingo.
I know it's not officially one of the triad.
Yeah,
But if you're having 4 of the major things that you need to do as a geocacher, you'd have to have it on the list, right? It's the oldest active cache in the world. That alone, I don't care if it was a nano and an LPC, it would still be worth going to visit, right? Because over the last 20 years, that is the oldest active cache. And, we could probably talk all night just about how lucky we are that one is still alive with all the things that's happened to it.
right.
But it's still alive. You know what I mean? And
it is.
it's a part of geocaching history, whether you've been there one time. I've been there 3 times, I think, because it's funny because, I've told the story before,
Ryan. Yeah,
but I may have actually stopped more than 3 times, but, I've mentioned the story before. I found it on accident the first time before I even realized how significant it was.
right.
And, but then since then we've driven through Kansas and I'm like, hey, we're right by Mingo. Why don't we just swing in there? And I can't even log it again, but maybe there's trackables. Maybe it's just interesting that it's still been around for so long. So I think in the world of geocaching, as far as like when you're really starting to become that complete geocacher, like I've been to Seattle, I've been to the Stash Plaque, I've been to the Ape, I've been to all these other things. There's certain things that have a lot of value for many different reasons, right? Like, whether Mingo's your favorite cache or not, because it is what it is, it can, and it's all these other things. It's historical. It's really interesting. So picking it for a location for this kind of celebration makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
But it's just it's a spot. It's just one of those spots you're like, crap. If this is one of the oldest, it's one of the very first ones, and to celebrate that, it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I agree.
It's buried in the ground.
Yeah, which yeah,
not allowed anymore.
Yeah, actually, that's on the little card for the game. As it says, quick stop, a 6-inch round container buried in the ground. That's actually kind of comes from the cache description, but.
So I was just looking. I actually have Mingo on my watch list. I've had it on my watch list probably since I started caching. Before I moved to Kansas, I was stationed in Germany. Knowing I was coming back to Kansas, I saw this GC30 thing just this weekend. All right, you've had a couple people who have revisited Mingo. One guy logged it 9 years ago, but had to revisit. You have a person from Washington State. People travel from around the world for this. I've been out to multiple events out that way. One of the guests you've had on the show in the past from Australia came out to do an event at Mingo, just to be out at Mingo. So it's definitely a travel site that people go to. We're the only hobby in the world that even knows where Mingo, Kansas is.
Right. That's true. That
is true.
I talk to people that have lived in Kansas their whole life. All right. You mean from birth until they're 60, 70, 80, however old they are. And you're like, well, yeah, I was out to Mingo, Kansas. They're like, well, Mingo what?
What?
So if you've never been to Mingo, there's not a lot there. Stop at get some soda before you get there because there is no gas station in Mingo. Well, I'm sorry, there is a gas station. And for those that blows Jesse's mind, it's a gas station with no attendant.
How does that even work? I don't understand.
That's the guy from Cincinnati doesn't understand because that's a whole other world up in Cincinnati, Ohio.
What do you do? Leave your money in the bucket?
Yeah, what do you do? Exactly.
So there is no gas station there, and that's why we moved it up to Colby to give you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like Tom was saying, a bathroom.
Best of both worlds. Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of cool stories, and we'll probably have another show down the road to talk about, because there's a lot of stuff we weren't able to talk about tonight. We weren't able to talk about the church that did cookies. Was it a cookies, Ernie? That
Yes.
Chocolate chip cookies, those were good.
chocolate chip cookies from the
Water.
church. I mean, there's the water, and so we'll get into that, but yeah, I want people to kind of think about, whoa, this isn't. I kind of want to go to New York City and visit New York City. Well, there's something to be said about going to somewhere like this, and I love going to this kind of area. I mean, this is, call me crazy, but I love going to areas like this. You meet different kind of people. You meet people who grew up in a different. Susan and I just got back from going out to all the way out to Amarillo, and as we were doing counties, and because her and I are doing Texas counties.
How many did you get today?
We got 17.
17, which brings you to what?
We're at 100 and hang on, I'll tell you. Just take 2 seconds. Let me tell you, we're at 100 and gosh, where is my number?
You're getting them up there, I know.
157.
Woo!
Wow.
We are knocking them out.
We have 97 left. But my interesting point though was we stopped at some serious little towns in Texas, and this is the same way in Kansas or any of these parts of the Midwest. It's like, we stopped and we people, you talk to them for a minute. It was weird. There's some weird weather, y'all, up your way, Ernie. That weather made it all the way. I was cold today in Texas. That's weird. It was cold. My wife fortunately had a coat. I didn't have a coat. I was freezing to death outside, and just weird weather. But anyway, the point was that I'm trying to make is that, we got to meet some really neat people. We saw parts of the world we never had seen before. We saw a lot of cool things. There are parts of our country that I'm a big proponent that you need to see in your life. You need to see mountains. If you've never seen a mountain, you need to go to Colorado. You need to visit, the Midwest. You need to go to places like Ohio. I mean, I'd never been to Cincinnati until I was invited to go to Gigastock.
And you never had chili like that before.
What's that?
And you never had chili like that before.
No, that's for another show. But the point is that we got to go to parts of the world that, in parts of the U.S., I should say, parts of the U.S. where we'd never been before, and so we got to experience. We took a roundabout way. We went through parts of Illinois. We went to the convergence of the Ohio River and the Mississippi River, and got to stand there and watch these two rivers come together. Doesn't sound, I mean, until you've been there and seen these kind of things, you can't, it's hard to explain to somebody that these things are like lifetime treasures. Mingo is one of those lifetime treasures that if you've not experienced going to these kind of places, and seeing, I could kind of explain to you about the Cathedral of the Plains and what it's like to be driving along and you go, there's an enormous church and we're not even close to this town. And I could see this church. And when you go to it and you get to go into it and you can experience, what the folks did, why they built this church? How did they build this church? How did they get the materials out to this location? This is just an example of what it's like to go experience parts of the world, and that's what geocaching does. We've all of us have done it. All of us can tell a story about, I never knew about this, but geocaching brought me to this part of the world. I use the story. I'm not going to tell the story again, but going to a lock system in Oklahoma in finding little locks where people like raise and lower the river so that boats can come along in Oklahoma. I mean, we've all got these stories about, and this is the beauty of a place like this. And so, end of my small rant, except for I do want to make a quick commercial break for a couple minutes. So, Jesse, Memphis, tell people real quick about FTF Magazine.
I've never heard of it.
Okay, and we're moving on now. Boy, you just
I
set me
think
right
we have
up.
some active people here that have contributed to that magazine once or twice, maybe, or regularly. But FTF Geocaching Magazine, if you've never heard of it, obviously it's the premier geocaching magazine for geocachers. It's by geocachers. There's milestones in it. You can always I keep forgetting to send in my most recent milestone, but
yeah, you got to send that in.
I know I got to, but it's great. It has articles every time. There's puzzles, whatever you're into. It's quality magazine, and there is the digital version for those people that want to save trees and stuff. But I don't like trees as much as I like having the hard copy magazine in my hands. So
absolutely.
So I definitely enjoy it. But it's definitely the premier magazine out there. It gets all the news, gets all the stories. It's great.
It is, and I do like trees. Don't get me wrong. We do love trees, so don't send in your hate mail.
I just said I don't like them as much as I like holding the magazine in my hand.
There you go. Absolutely, yeah. It's one of the few things that I really love that's like a non-electronic version, and so I got stacks of them back here because I love them. I would never throw them away, but I've got lots and lots of cool.
Oh, they're high quality for sure.
I love going back and reading these. So anyway, so there you go. FTFgeocacher.com is the website. So all right, as we wrap up tonight, let's go around the room and let's do a final wrap up. Ryan, let me start with you. Jesse Tuttle, I'm going to come to you sort of kind of the end because I kind of started with you. So I'm going to have you kind of do a wrap up of what you've experienced as you're watching numbers. So Ryan and then Ernie, I want you to go next because that's kind of a cool thing that you guys have been involved with. So Ryan, I'll start with you and then I'll go over to Ernie. So go ahead, Ryan. Give a final thought tonight.
I know it's hard watching the chat room while being on the show. I'll tell you that much. I don't know how he does it every week or Memphis does it. But
I have to ban you and I have to ban Tuttle whenever they're on the show. You two guys are not allowed in the chat room because I can't get anything done to get this podcast going. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Noticing that some people are just now getting on the thing. So they'll be listening into it tomorrow at work like I will myself. Right. Now I get to laugh at myself. But what the big news of the weekend is Geocache Talk has teamed up with the Mingo Crazies, I guess, for Mingo Madness.
Madness.
So that's what the big news was. What Mingo Madness is, May 2nd, celebrating selective availability for 2020. We are going to have just a little shindig out in Colby, Kansas, just because of the fact that Mingo can't hold. We had 150, 200 plus people for 2015. The grounds don't like that many cars. So we're going to do it out in Colby. GC30, Mingo, I really don't need to say a lot about it unless you've been caching for less than a couple days. If you never heard about GC30 or Mingo, ask a geocacher. See anybody that has at least 100 finds, you'll probably find out what GC30 is. Doesn't matter what language they speak, where they are. That's what the importance of Mingo is.
Yep.
We're not trying to do this event just to outboost anybody else. We want to show Mingo, the oldest active geocache in the world. We want to show it off to everybody. So come out. Put it out there earlier. I know Jesse's gonna talk about it when he gets on. Mingo2020.com. We do have links to the Facebook pages on there. We have a Facebook page, which is going to be any announcement that we have as a community. And then we do have a community group where you can sit there. Sorry, reading the chat again.
You're done. You're done. Quick. I gotta go to Ernie.
So, but go on there. And also we do have a real quick thing on if you think you're going to go, and you can sign up for the newsletter. So I'll give it to Ernie.
Go back to the chat room.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Go back to the chat room. So, all right, Ernie. Again, we don't have enough time for everything, but yeah, give everybody a final thought. So go ahead, Ernie.
On May 1st, before geocaching, if you have a handheld GPS receiver, you got an accuracy of plus or minus maybe 300 feet if it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So if you're lost, you can say, "Hey, I'm like on this peak, or I'm on that peak of a mountain," and they know which peak to look for you. Then on May 1st, year 2000, the government says within 6 months we will be shutting off this selective availability. The really nice stuff is only available to selected people, like the military. The general public, you don't get it. But within 6 months, we're going to shut that off. The very next day, they shut it off.
Wow.
So that's the government for you.
Oh, well. Hey, at least they shut it off, right?
Yeah, so they shut it off on May 2nd. Then there's some talk in this Usenet group. Before geocaching.com existed, geocaching.com came along in, I think it was September 9th afterwards. So in this Usenet group, they said, "Hey, this selective availability has been shut off. I've got a bucket out there, and here are some coordinates." And I got some stuff in there. And then on May 3rd, somebody came back to the Usenet group and said, "Your coordinates? I found your geocache. I found your stash."
That's cool.
And that was the first one.
Yep.
And then Mingo ended up being the 7th one. And so the first 6, they've been gone for a very long time.
Yeah, that's something we really could talk to. Yeah.
Still out there.
Still alive.
And
it's
so
incredible.
20 years later, that's going to be next year, May 2nd. May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
You come out, 20 years. 20 years. Some of these geocachers aren't even going to be 20 years old.
Yeah, that's incredible. All right, so very good. So, Mr. Tuttle, I'm going to turn to you, and I'm going to leave Memphis for a final. But so, what are your kind of final thoughts on this? I mean, you've been involved with a lot of different events. I mean, we can't, your resume is long, but what are your kind of thoughts about this kind of event and what we're going to experience?
I've been involved with MOGA. I've hosted a Mega. I've been involved with Woodstock and hosted a Giga. I've been on the planning committee and part of more than a dozen other Megas. I've hosted 2 Geo tours. I think this event is going to be one of the most monumental. May not be the biggest. It's not always about the size.
Right.
It's about the impact. It's about what we, the people on the video right here that you see, and the team behind us, what we are working to give to the community. Mingo Madness is not an event for us. It is an event by the community for the community.
Right.
The community was established before geocaching.com was even made.
Right.
It's I believe on a previous show, Brian Roth even talked about the history and how geocaching.com got started and some of the ideas there and how they even came up with Groundspeak and some of these cool things. All of that happened many, many months after Mingo was placed.
Right.
Mingo is older than all of that. Mingo is the heritage of geocaching. You're looking at the original stash, which is no longer there. It is a replacement. Definitely pilgrimage site, though.
Oh yeah.
If you're looking at Mingo. And so this might be one of the coolest projects I've ever been part of. I'm sitting here, I'm still doing some development on the site. And I'm watching the Will Attend pledges, and they're rolling. I mean, we have well past 50. I think we're in the 70s, headed towards the 80s, just since the show started.
Wow. It's incredible.
Yeah, I know Symbol has been there's been tons of people being added to the Facebook group and liking the page. I actually just added a brand new function to the site while I was sitting here working.
Yeah.
If you have an idea, you need to get in touch with us. You want to just bounce some ideas off of us. Feel free to message the Facebook page. You can go to the Facebook page and do it there, or you can go to the website and a Facebook Messenger bubble will pop up in the bottom right corner.
Oh, cool.
And you can message us right there, and then someone from the team, and we'll identify ourselves, whoever it is responding. We'll bounce the ideas with you. We will make note. Who knows? But
right.
It's important to know that this is an event by the community for the community. How did Woodstock go giga? Literally, it was by the community for the community. That's the only way it ever happened. And this event will only grow and be a legacy by the community for the community.
Wow. Incredible. Yep. Oh, what are you showing there, Ryan? Real quick.
I'm getting ready to add another one.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've been doing it throughout the show. Like Jesse just said, I've added probably about 30 people on the show.
Wow. Incredible.
So Derek Baker's getting ready. You've been approved. So,
oh, sweet. That's awesome. Yeah. Something that, and I'm about to go over to Memphis, but one thing that I think is incredible, and to say this is that we've got the right people really in place, and something, Jesse, that you really haven't mentioned, and really we won't have time tonight, but I'd like to talk about sometime, is you're not just a planner. I mean, you're a geocacher. I mean, your whole family. I mean, you understand not only just you understand not the conventioner, because you're part of a visitor. But what's the way you put that you're?
So we're tourism ambassadors for Cincinnati, USA CVB, but that actually all happened after we started becoming geocachers. A little background there. My parents and my daughter, which a lot of people has met, she wins gold medals a lot at MOGA, took us against our will out geocaching in the summer of 2013, fell in love with it. 10 days later, we end up at our first mega event, which was Midwest Geobash. And that's when me, Amber, and Laura was like, whoa, hold on. Yeah. We expect there was 50 people here, not thousands of people. And that's the moment that we go, how can we use this as a mechanism to just give back to humanity?
Right.
And our thoughts were to share parks, museums, historical sites. That's where we started. And then, working with cities and municipalities, we ended up working in the tourism industry. And now our whole thing is giving back to the community, because our daughter has grown and learned so much about the world because of geocaching. It's our way that we just really enjoy it. And that's what's cool about this event, is that this is a total give back and the community's coming together to do it.
Yeah, that's incredible. All right. One of our longest shows ever. Well, not podcast of hopes, but all right. So Memphis, wrap us up tonight.
Well, in that same thing, because we are running quite long. I'll keep my final thoughts short, because it is. We could keep going for. If I got 20 minutes worth of final thoughts. If we
let's
really,
keep going.
No, we can't. The CFO will kill me. So this is going to be a huge event, and again, I'm not even talking about numbers. Just like Jesse said, the numbers are one thing, but that really doesn't define an event, right? Other than maybe an icon difference. This is going to be a huge event because we didn't even really scratch the surface on what's going to be happening, what's going to be there for this event, because you can't this far out, right? The good thing about that is we're still at such early stages of this. It's one of those, it's by geocachers for geocachers. It's still time, and people have great ideas. There's tons of stuff that can still happen.
Yeah.
But as we're gathering all that stuff now, and there's things that can happen, you will have to slowly define what's going to happen eventually. But it's still wide open right now. There's tons of stuff. They haven't mentioned everything because they're putting everything in place. But it's really, really going to be an amazing event. I know a few of the things from behind the scenes. So that's one thing. We'll talk about more of that coming up. I mean, we have tons of time for that, right?
Right.
But just like from Texas this last couple weekends ago, there'll probably be a live Geocache Talk episode coming from there.
Oh, absolutely.
There's going to be some other things happening, but we're going to get into all that stuff again. That's for another show.
That's for another show.
But I think this is going to be huge. Keep this on the radar. Keep this on your calendar coming up, because 2020 is going to be huge for geocaching. And this is one more thing to just add to that landscape. So it's going to be great. Stay tuned. We're going to have tons of stuff coming up on this.
Yeah.
It's going to be madness.
It will be madness. You're right, Ernie.
Right.
You are correct. Madness.
Yep.
So, all right. Upcoming shows. So next week, Memphis and I are going to talk about the lonely cache, which is a fascinating topic. We're going to do it with Russell Korfman, and we're going to talk about his website. We'll talk about just what a lonely cache even is. 2 weeks. Isn't this timing good? Brian Roth, president of and founder, one of the founders of geocaching.com, will be on the show, and we're going to talk about what are we going to talk about? What's going to be on that side? No, we're going to talk about 20 years of geocaching, and I'm sure different things will come up in that meeting. But Brian Roth, he's great. We've had him on the show before, and having Brian on is a lot of fun, and I know that's going to be a fun show. Just hearing his perspective. I mean, he was there. He was there when geocaching.com, when Groundspeak kind of got together and decided, you know what, let's take all these Usenets that are, all this information that's out there, the Mingos, these handful of geocaches. Yeah. And put them all together and sort of start the process. Even though Mingo predates that, Brian will be able to talk about that and about the 20 years. And then in 3 weeks, we're going to talk about something also interesting. And that is that needs a Virtuals 2.0. I know that came out and a lot of people have them. One of the co-hosts of this show, I wonder, has the opportunity to place one. So Geocache Talk is in the middle of Virtuals 2.0, and as we try to make sure we're in the middle of a lot of this kind of good stuff. So, we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Email us your comments, geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us, Geocache Talk, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, facebook.com/Geocache Talk. Show can be found iTunes, Stitcher, Radio Public. We'll talk more about Radio Public down the road, but I want people to know about that. Spotify, Geocache Talk website. And don't forget to click on the subscribe button below so you can see and hear the show. Ring that bell to get notification. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. You need to go out to Mingo2020.com. And if you're even thinking this is a possibility, mark your will attend. There you go. And after you do all that, that's right. After you do all that, then you can go geocaching. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Right.